Well, good day to all of our viewers and listeners here on Coffee Humans. I am live with Coach Miinkay, who I met about 8 minutes ago, and we have personally talked about nothing besides a couple tech check off before. But we've got a lot in common. I she sent through a brief paragraph of things that's about, and they're all that I know and love too. So we're in for a good time together. So thanks for everybody, and Miinkay, welcome to Cool with Humans.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jason.
So we, I don't know, where are you in the world?
I live in Los Angeles area in
Alrighty,
California. Yeah.
Los Angeles. That's awesome. Yesterday, I talked to a person from New York City. Uh, by way of she's originally from Malaysia, moved to Australia, and moved to New York. So we get people all over the world, and I love it. So in what inspired you to click to have coffee humans?
Well, I remember you sent me that message of like, hey, come on Coffee with Humans on it's a webpage called Audrey, and I've been trying to connect with other podcasters on it. I'm a podcaster myself,
Okay.
and I saw it and I was like, all right, this is actually the first message that somebody else had sent me through that website. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna check this guy out. And on your webpage, I think I scrolled down and one of the first links was schedule time with me to talk live. And I was like, oh, this guy really just wants to talk to anybody and everybody and is open. And I was like, if he's open to it, then I'm open to it. And I just wanted to, and I clicked the link and scheduled with you. It was
Awesome.
so simple. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did go to that site, Audrey, to find out um, a way of increase. I think the connections with other other casters and video casters. So what is your pod video cast about?
My podcast is called What's Your Calling? It's I help people find what their purpose is in life and turn it into a career.
Oh, interesting. How long have
Yeah.
you been doing that?
I started that in August. Well, I started the podcast in August, but I started this career coaching thing about 2 years ago. So the podcast is very new. Yeah.
Okay. What inspired you? I'm curious. Find calling. What inspired to help people? I'm assuming I'm making a big broad assumption that you help find their calling by way of this. What inspired you to do that?
Well, I had started coaching people on finding their calling because I myself went through this long struggle of trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I've been trying so many different things. I used to be an engineer. I used to be a consultant. I tried to be a yoga teacher. I tried to be, all kinds of things. I tried to get into medical school. I tried to get a graduate degree, and nothing seemed to work out for me. And I kept hitting all these dead ends and getting really frustrated and upset and not knowing why, what I was doing wrong. It was like you're trying really hard and you're getting successful at certain things, but then it's still not the right thing, and then you get really upset. And I was just hitting all those roadblocks, and I finally figured out how to find what was meaningful and purposeful to me, and I wanted to start helping other people do that because I know the struggle of my life, what it was before I was doing something that I love to do every day, and I don't wish that on anyone. It doesn't feel good to do something that you don't like to do for 8 hours a day because you have to make money, right?
Yeah.
You want to be doing something you love doing every day so that you feel good about yourself, you feel good about living, you feel good and you want to wake up and seize the day. You want to actually go to work. Like
Yeah.
wouldn't that be amazing if everybody in the world actually wanted to go to work and enjoyed their work?
I yeah, I agree. I think it was some time ago somebody told me we spend the best hours of the day, the best days of the week, the best weeks of the year at work. So we might as well love what we do. And if we don't, then it's not necessarily that we're wasting our time. That's, I don't think we go so far as to say that, but we're not being as true to who could be living as if we in
Exactly.
as if maybe we some of the things that we feel like we should be doing and got along doing the things we wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly. My whole life changed when I figured out what I wanted to do with my life. I'm happier. I love waking up to work. I plan my day, I enjoy it. And the podcast was a way for me to start teaching people how to do that, because I was teaching that and coaching people one-on-one, but the podcast is a way for me to reach more people, to give away this information for free, and to help people out that, probably can't afford one-on-one coaching, because one-on-one coaching is quite expensive. So, this was a way for me to give back. Especially, I got inspired after COVID because, the world is in a weird place right now. People are losing their jobs, people are not knowing what to do. And what better time than to reevaluate your life and say, am I really doing the work that I love doing? And if I'm not, how can I change that?
So what about your journey brought you to that point where you decided you wanted to change that?
I was doing a job that I just wasn't interested in, and I used to work for health. I used to do electronic medical records in healthcare, and I used to work for UCLA Hospital. That was one of my employers, and it was a great place to work. They treated you well. My coworkers were amazing. My boss was great. I was working on this project that was helping to improve the way nurses used the computers and using the computers to help them figure out, okay, is this person more susceptible to infection? So it was just an interesting thing, like using the computer to help you do medicine so that you can improve your patients' quality of care, make sure they don't get sick, make sure they leave the hospital as healthy as possible, right? I thought, why am I not interested in this kind of work? It's good work, it's helping people, but I don't want to go to work every day. I don't want to do it. I just dreaded Mondays. I look forward to Fridays. I realized that I wasn't happy at all. And that made me stop and say, what am I doing with my life if this isn't making me happy? And what in my life do I have to deconstruct and reassess for myself that, this good work is not for me? And that's what really got me started on saying, hey, I have something else that I want to do in the world, and can I find it? What is it? What, if it's not this, then how do I get to that place?
Yeah. Our listener here, Jamie, says COVID has really given meaning and purpose to many, which I think is just true. This year, I think COVID will force decision of habit, and many people go through their lives habitually. I think it's programmed into us. It makes us able to get through a day. Our abilities to generate habits, we become stuck in the habits sometimes and don't move on from areas we should move. They are no longer fulfilling. We've outgrown the place that we should be, and then we find ourselves in a spot where we just question, like, man, why am I doing this? It's not that I don't like it. I like it, but got to be more. And
Exactly.
we're to move on from that. And I think I agree with Jamie here that COVID really kicked us out, or kicked a lot of people out of that rut that they were in. And now it's like in season. What do you want to do? Figure out.
Yeah, exactly. I got comfortable, so I know what it's like. I got comfortable in that job. It was a great job. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to wake up for work. And you got to ask yourself, if I don't want to wake up for work, then what do I want to wake up for? And sometimes that question is hard to answer.
Absolutely. I think it's many people I find don't give enough pause for reflection in their lives I'm not especially good at this, but to my credit, I'm an overthinker, which sometimes helps me, sometimes is debilitating. But this opportunity to pause and take inventory of what's working for me, what's not working for me, and what do I need to change, and what do I want to change? It's sometimes it's not a need, it's to want. And I'm okay just saying, I want to do this, and it's just because I want to, and have the freedom to go do it.
Yeah, exactly. I think These days we have so much responsibility, and we give ourselves so much responsibility that we forget about doing what's fun just for the fun of it, or doing something just because you want to and not for any other reason, right? Like people usually want to do something for money or for fame or to get noticed, but don't, don't worry about that stuff for a minute and just do something you want to do.
Yeah. Writing in here saying I have an echo in my voice. Are you hearing that too, Miinkay?
I am. I thought it was just me.
Don't know what is happening with that. I'm gonna suggest that it's probably the streaming platform that I'm on. I'll try and mute myself. Maybe try and come back.
Oh, it's still there.
Well, that's a shame. The joys of live audio, live video. Let's see if I can reach it up here. I don't even know what it means. I just made it up. I'll press the resync button. I don't know what's happening, but it seems to be happening. I apologize to all our listeners and viewers. So tell me about your process. You went this process of trying to figure out what you wanted to do kind of with your life. What process do you follow when you're coaching people and working with them and
So the key to figuring out what you want to do with your life is to listen to yourself. Don't listen to anybody else. Get clear on what you want, who you are, and who you are without anybody else in it. I had to really learn what I wanted for me and not what my parents wanted for me, not what society wanted for me, not what my friends wanted for me, right? Society tells you, hey, you gotta make a lot of money, you gotta make $1 million, you gotta save up, X amount of money to retire, you have to have a house with a family and 3 kids and 2 cars. Don't listen to all that. That's not everybody wants that, and that's not going to fit everybody's life, personality, and who they truly are. You have to figure out what you truly want outside of what people are telling you should have. It's about getting rid of the shoulds. You should do this, you should do that. My mom would always tell me, oh, you should get a stable job so that you can have money coming in, but in reality, for me, I hated being at a stable job. I hated having a boss. I didn't like people telling me what to do. When I realized that I needed to be my own boss, that was the scariest thing, because all my life I had been taught you need a stable job. But entrepreneurship is not that stable at all. And
right.
Until you create the stability in your own business, you're going to be unstable for a while. And that's okay, actually. It was just a perception that my parents didn't think it was okay. They think that stability is better than instability. But I don't, for me, I'm okay with instability. For me, I like instability. I kind of relish it a little bit because I need my day to be different. I need my day to change, and I need to be able to decide what I want to do every day for myself. And so this is the kind of life that I want. The kind of life that my parents preferred. They probably don't like instability. They really hated being unstable, and so they projected what they wanted for themselves on me. Yeah, and so you really have to get rid of what other people are telling you what you want, and really dig deep and figure out who you are, what you want and why, because that's really going to lead you to what's perfect for you. Getting rid of what people are telling you what you should do and what you should want is just getting in your way.
Well, I like what you say about stability, and double check. Is my echo gone yet?
It's still there.
It's still okay. I'm gonna make one cheer, and then I've got thought on stability to bring out.
Okay.
Is my echo still there?
Oh, it's better.
It's better?
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone. Great. We'll leave it on that then.
I have a backup mic here. So the stability is kind of a falsehood, right? I was talking to a lady yesterday, and there was in her organization, she always wanted some sort of stability, and then found that suddenly there was somebody who had been stealing from the organization, and what they thought was stable wasn't, because of something they didn't see or didn't understand, and that kind of kicked them out of that rut or that habit, and said, well, okay, so these things that are so stable suddenly aren't. And the COVID did that for us as well, as on a global scale. The economies that we thought would serve us, and the habits that we thought that we had, and the places that we went, and the people that we saw, all of those things are gone. And now we're forced to find stability in new ways, and find relationships in new ways, and connection in new ways, and utilize some of the tools at our fingertips. Somebody had jokingly said that corporate America took a decade of transformation and made it in like 3 months in terms of working virtually. Large organizations that never would have said, let's send everybody home, suddenly were like, we have to send everybody home. And it was thrust upon us. And what a huge opportunity. And if necessity is the mother of invention, well, think of all the necessity that has been birthed out of this time, and what new inventions for us personally are we able to have, and then corporately, what are our organizations or our governments, what new things can come of this that are good, good or transformative in some way.
Yeah, exactly. This is a time of unrest, but it's always before the unrest that you see a lot of change and birth of new things and innovation. And I'm excited for 2021. The number of podcasts that popped up during COVID is probably a lot. And there's so much good information out there now that people just want to help and put news and thoughts out there in the world that are going to be good for people. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know for me, I started Coffee with Humans back in April, and it started really as just an understanding that people were feeling disconnected in profound ways in the world. And I thought, I can do something about this, and utilize some of my strengths for building connection, and my strengths in technology to just be able to make this stuff happen, overnight. And I put out there, just, hey, anybody want to have coffee with me? I'll have coffee with you. The only rule is no sales calls. And boom, like, people just started showing up, and it is simply continued. And I think it's interesting to me, what I've discovered through that, or what I've experienced, is what I thought was true, which is people are starved for connection, and just offering the ability to just have a raw, unfiltered connection just with another person, it's unique. It is interesting how unique and remarkable people feel that it is. But that speaks, I think, to our society, and maybe in particular this time. But yeah, I think it's proven to me, my perception, that regardless of who we are as individuals, across cultures and across socioeconomic striations, or whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, we're all human on some level, and there's a continuity between all of us in the things that we care about, the things that we hope for, the things that we fear, and we long for those moments when we can just connect with another human and grow in some meaningful way.
Yeah, wow, you said that so well, and I couldn't have said it better, right? We all want the same things: love, connection, support, understanding, and I think everybody is capable of giving it. If you just start with a very sincere, hello, who are you, how are you, sort of like the way your website was. It was just a very sincere, like, let's have coffee, let's just talk to each other.
Yeah.
There's no agenda. don't sell anything, just hang out and enjoy hanging out with another person that you've never met before.
Yeah, I find that, for me at least, that's where growth, I think, begins. It's the ability to look past the facade, because we all carry around some sort of facade, and that's actually had. It wasn't an argument; it felt like an argument. The other day, I was driving around the car talking with some guy who was going to be on Coffee with Humans in the future. I think he's in January sometime, and I said, no sales calls. And he said, well, we're always selling. And then we got into this thing about how, we're always selling something and all sorts of stuff. And I was like, and he says, it sounds like you're afraid of sales. And I was like, I am not afraid of sales. I'm an excellent salesperson. I said, but sales tends to, if I have an intention that the thing I need to get out of this is to sell you something, that we need to make a transaction here, I am going to posture in some way to make sure that I've dialed it up enough. I've dialed myself up enough. I've dialed this thing up enough that you're gonna buy it. And it doesn't make it bad. That process is not inherently bad. But if you ripped that all off, there's something underneath, and that's who you are as an individual. And I just want to know you as an individual, because there are 8 billion people, almost on the planet. And if you count, you could probably count on 1 or 2 hands. I think most of us could count on 1 or 2 hands the quantity of people that we really know.
So
and everybody
true.
else is just at this distance. It's like, I kind of know you, but I really don't. And you don't really know me.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to come in with the intention of just to hang out and to be here and to be open to whatever you're interested in and talking about, because I feel like that's the intention of your show, is just to talk about and to have that intention to connect, not have the intention to sell anything or to bring something at the end that people can buy or listen to or subscribe to. That stuff doesn't really matter right now.
Right. Not in this moment. And it doesn't mean that. So I think you mentioned you saw my website for the Coffee with Humans, and I think the thing on there says a sacred space to connect, share, and change the world, and that's the intention, right? Connect, and to connect with people, I think we have to wipe away a bit of that facade to really develop the true connection, or the beginnings of it at least, and offer ourselves out there in a. I think the buzzword is an authentic, right? Authenticity, right? That's the buzzword lately. So we offer ourselves in some more authentic way, encouraging the other person to offer themselves in an authentic way, and recognizing that that's enough. In this space, it's enough. And because it's enough, then I can share, you can share. And if we walk into this moment with the intention that we're going to make our personal world and our sphere of influence, whatever that world is defined as, a better place, we have the ability to do that. It is within our authority and responsibility, I think, both of those, to do that. Because if we're not doing that, I don't know what we're doing. Why are we wasting an hour of our own lives, right? If we weren't trying to move ourselves in a direction with another person, right? Like if I want to, play a video game or something like that, that's up to me, right? But I would never bring somebody else into that and say, you know what, I think you should just sit there and watch a video game with me. I think you should waste a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Like I am, if 2 people come together, it's like, all right, like let's do something valuable. And to me, it's just valuable to make connections. So I think we're on the same page.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the space and for setting that intention and, creating that, what is the word? Like feeling, even though we're online and we're doing this in different places, like it just feels good to hang out with you and not worry about, oh, what am I doing? I'm just talking.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's odd. I think it's odd to people. But whatever.
Just come in with the mindset that everybody's your friend. I think that's what I try to do in life. everybody that I meet is my friend, and that way it's just easy to talk to them and be there and hang out.
That's a really good point that you bring up. I have historically had a really hard time with that because I have been admittedly a bit closed off from people, right? It's my natural tendency, it's my personality tendency, and I find solace in being alone and quiet and in very few people. But it was interesting as a contrast. A very good friend of mine for a number of years, he would talk to people and be like, everybody was his friend. And I had no idea. I could not understand that. I was like, that's not true. They're my acquaintance. They're not my friend. And that was me. That was me holding myself distant from people. It wasn't people were trying to be distant from me. I was holding myself distant from people, which then made me think and live kind of out of a way, well, they must be trying to be distant from me. Not necessarily. You're trying to be distant from them, and you're just playing, you're kind of playing their cards for them.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing that.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's an awesome mindset shift of, oh, okay, everybody can be my friend, and it's me that's determining whether they're my friend or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true. People can read body language. People can read, the words that aren't there. They can read your energy and just decide like, oh, this guy doesn't want to talk to me. I'm going to go away.
Totally. It's a sixth sense, right?
Yeah.
That we all understand. And it's across cultures. Everybody across the world understands these certain things. I've done studies on emotion. If you show a picture of certain emotions, sadness, grief, happiness, joy, these like even small, these micro emotions across cultures, it's very consistent. We can all read them, regardless of the language you speak, the place we were born in, all of the money we make. We can all read them. And we read each other's energies I think in a way that, to me, just kind of proves the point. Like, we have a lot of ability to create our world around us, and we should be about the creative process.
Yeah, totally. I think that people don't realize that power that they have, and that the mind is so, like you said, creates the world around you. Like, just having that shift of, oh, everybody can be my friend, changes your whole perception on people, and then on people's perception on you. So then your life shifts a little more. So, can you move through life challenging your own beliefs, challenging your own conceptions about, okay, how am I supposed to be, or how do I want to be? How do I want to live my life in those little ways too of connecting it? If I want more connection, I have to reach out. I have to be vulnerable. I have to say I want connection. You can't just expect people to connect with you without letting them know.
Right. You're totally right. I've known some folks who openly talk about, well, nobody connects with me. And, well, that's just my place in life. And I push back against that. I understand that people are built in different ways. My instinct is to push back against that and say, no, I'm not certain it's not that simple. I think you're making yourself, by walking into that space and saying, well, nobody connects with me, you're drawing that energy out that, like, whoa, I'm not sure I want to connect with that person. They're unconnectable. Yeah. Because of that, those unspoken things, the body language and all these things. 70, right? What is it? Somebody, you'll probably know this better than me. I think it's like 70% of our communication is nonverbal. And before we've spoken a word, we've said everything. We've said the majority of what we needed to say before we even opened our mouths.
Yeah, totally. I live with my boyfriend, and whenever we interact, if I start to come off with this angry, like, why did you do that? Instantly, he reacts to that. He knows, okay, this girl's mad at me.
Right.
I don't want to, back off. And even before I say anything, he can tell. He can feel what I'm feeling. And that just sets the whole tone for our conversation. And so I've had to really figure out, okay, how do I dial it back? What do I do? Like, why am I reacting that way? And yeah, so you got to ask yourself, what am I doing that's not allowing connection?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always had this, my third grade teacher had this saying, and she would say, it takes two to tango, because one person would get called out for doing something bad or talking in class, and she would say, well, actually, it takes two to tango. So who are you talking to? Who is getting you to do that bad thing? Because she would call us, because she knew, it takes two people to interact. It takes two people to create a situation where she's going to call on you.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. If you feel like people aren't connecting with you, what are you doing that's not connecting with them? It's a two-way street. It's not that only people should always connect with you. You have to reach out back, and you have to provide that space too.
Yeah, I like that. The thing that comes to my mind, building on that, is if we are living in a point of recognition of that moment where it's like, what am I doing? That might lead us to the responsibility to put ourselves out there to inspire the other person to connect, because I think a lot of times people, if I'm a representative of some people, at least, there are times when I don't, where it's an uphill battle for me to connect. Right? I'm an introvert. I might find myself in a space where I just, like, it's a lot of energy and I just don't want to. Not that I'm unwilling, but it's like, okay, if somebody else could put forth the effort here, that'd be good right now, because it's going to cost me so much to come out and open up. And so I've found myself in times now understanding that, where it's like, okay, that person I think that is going to need some help. They want to connect. I believe everybody wants to connect. But what can I do to assist that other person in recognizing it's a safe space, it's a low impact space, to say what they want to say or do what they want to do, to join the discussion when they just feel it's harder for them, right? So how can we make it easier for each other? I think in those moments is what comes to my mind.
Yeah, even though it's hard to connect, and you sympathize with that, you see the benefit of helping somebody else connect, and that's your motivation to step out and do something like that, which is great. I think that's a good way to think. I also would challenge you to think, okay, how does it help me?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's good to work for other people, but don't forget yourself. You're going to get something out of this connection too. And even though it's easy, as I'm an introvert too, and it's easy to know, okay, I'm going to be happy sitting and watch TV, I have to remind myself, I'm going to be happy talking to my best friend too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think, I don't want to call them. Just calling them is so hard. But they're my best friend, and every time I hang out with them, I have fun. So I just have to remind myself, I'm going to have a good time if I reach out.
It does. Sometimes it does take that reminder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, the struggle's real, right? So we don't have to plumb the depths of everything deep. And you said you rock climb as well.
Mm-hmm. I am an avid rock climber.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just fun. It's fun to get on the rock and be outside. And I mean, I started in a gym because I couldn't do a pull-up at first, but then once I started getting stronger and being able to do pull-ups, that was a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
Being able to do one pull-up is a huge thing. And so just seeing myself get better and stronger, and it's a very technical sport.
Okay.
Like there's so much finesse to it, where you put your foot, how you balance your body, how you hold yourself against the wall. There's so much full body interaction with the rock and with your surroundings. And the excitement is you don't want to fall. Right? Even I'm on a rope, so I'm safe, but you still don't want to fall.
Right.
And that's the challenge. So you're trying to get up this wall, and you're trying to do it with this as much strength, as much finesse and technical ability as you can, to use the least amount of energy. and then, be able to say, oh, I got to the top. And then you come back down and you do it again and you find something else.
Yeah. I've said this story before, but I learned to rock climb because I was afraid of heights.
Oh.
And I didn't want to be afraid of heights anymore. And so I thought, well, what can I do about that? I'll learn to rock climb.
Did it cure you?
It did cure me, yes. I still have to reacclimate, when I first get on the rock, during the summertime, or if I go to a new place, I have to reacclimate myself to the heights. But what changed for me was it took the nebulous fear of imminent death. This is the moment when there's an earthquake, all the rocks fall apart. It was like this nebulous, everything terrible can happen in this moment. And it made a very specific fear at a specific times, which are now related to, oh, did I clip in? Now I double check it. Great. Did I put my gear in right? Oh, double check it, right? So it took the nebulous fear of the unknown, made it very specific and actionable. And that was the benefit of walking through that moment of fear, that gateway. I talk about fear as a gateway, right? Walking through that gateway of fear and learning to understand so that the unknowns were reduced. I got these answers to questions I didn't even know I had by simply experiencing it.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize how safe rock climbing can be. Because you're right, like you clip into certain places, you put anchors in, you use safe gear, you have a harness that's, a really safe, you check everything, we check each other before we go up. It's it can be a very safe sport. And I think, the barrier for a lot of people is that, oh, I'm going to get hurt, or I could get hurt, or something, and that is a possibility, but there are a lot of ways and things that we do to prevent that. And like you said, it just teaches you that you do have some control over what's around you and what's going on. And it's not this nebulous black hole of bad things are going to happen to you all the time. Sometimes it's good. Some fun, it can be fun, and good things can happen to you.
Yeah, and I think the fear, like you said, you still you don't want to fall. You're safe. Nothing probably is going to happen to you. But there's still that fear in the back. There's a little bit of fear that kind of keeps, at least for me, and the folks I've been up with, there's a little bit of fear that keeps them going. It's like, oh, I want to get to the top. I want to hold on to that rock. I don't want to fall, because there's just a little bit of anxiety. It's like just a little bit of background anxiety. But inevitably you try, and it's freeing as well, because you're safe, and so you can try doing things that it's like, well, if I have to really stretch for that, if I really jump for that or something like that, and I fall, well, it's thrilling as well.
I'm glad you think that it's thrilling and it's not scary anymore.
I didn't say I didn't think it's scary.
Oh.
Just not crippling.
Yes, yeah. One of the things you learn as a rock climber is how to fall.
Yeah.
Which is so valuable too. It's just you gotta be okay with falling, and it's you're totally safe. You're not gonna get hurt. But it's a mind thing. It's a brain thing. You just gotta let go, and it's such a practice every time I try something hard to trust that, okay, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. Yeah.
What I'm curious. You seem like a person who kind of evaluates their experiences and then tries to learn lessons to carry forward. In your mind, having learned rock climbing and all the thoughts around fear and motivation and trust, and how do you draw those back into your coaching when you see those elements at play in somebody else? Because sometimes I think we don't see them quite clearly in ourselves, but we see them very clearly in some other people when we're looking for them. How do you see those things translating, and what do you do with it?
That's a really good question. And one of the things that my coaching teacher, so I went and got training to be a coach, he taught me is that with every session, you get as much out of the session as your client will. And that was, once I started coaching, that was so true, because every session I learn something from my client, or I see myself in them, or I give them advice that I should take myself. And it makes me reevaluate, what am I doing? How can I get better? What can I do for myself? Or, what has my client been through that I've been through that I can relate with? And, I see them get to realizations, and their realizations help me get to my own realizations, because I'm asking them questions that are objective, that are honest, I'm not trying to save them from being hurt. I'm trying to ultimately get to a goal that's going to be better for them, even if we have to walk through the pain. Right? And so who does that for you? Not a lot of people do that for you because they want to protect you. They want you to, they think that protecting you is better, but it's not always. And so I do learn so much from all my sessions, and that's the joy of coaching, I think, is learning through my clients and growing with them and becoming a better person because of them. And, also knowing a lot of other coaches through my coaching program, so that I can get coached too and realize, like, I'm not perfect. I need help sometimes. I need to work on myself, and I need to work on these things that are showing up for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. The idea that you're getting as much out of the session as the person that you're speaking with. I think that's very insightful, particularly because some of the things that we know to be true are just very difficult to live out, and it doesn't make them any less true. It just, and when we speak it to someone else, I found sometimes that, like, as the words are escaping my mouth, it's just like, it's like, fine, I'll say it. It's true. And then but as it's like it's working its way through me. It's like, would you learn this too and do it? And it's like, I'm going to say it to you because I need to say it to myself. And that keeps me, when I can sit, I think, in a posture of, I'm not sure if the word is humility, but when I sit in a posture of learning, and acceptance and a bit of grace for myself, I can say the things I know to be true, also recognizing that I'm having a terribly difficult time with it. But as I tell you, I encourage me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that relationship with yourself. That's this new concept in the world of self-care is becoming a thing, taking care of yourself, realizing that it's better to be healthy, not skinny, or it's better to be fit, not thin. I see the world changing and shifting into this world of, who am I and how do I take care of myself better? And it brings to light this relationship that you have with yourself, and what you say to yourself is a thing.
Yeah.
That's not something we used to talk about before, but how you talk to yourself, what you say to yourself is important. So like you said, is it, saying something to somebody else, but also as a reminder to yourself, okay, I need to do that too. Also holding yourself accountable, thinking, okay, I'm telling somebody else to do this thing. I need to take my own advice.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. I think that underscores for me in our interpersonal relationships, whether, I shouldn't say whether, in our interpersonal relationships, having those relationships that are open and authentic, right? Offering ourselves into that space. I think that's where we get to the bottom of some of these things of, hey, here's what I'm struggling with, and here's what I need help with. Or here's the things I'm really terrible at. Can you offer me, a way through, or who do I connect with? I think when we withhold portions of ourselves, I think just we short circuit our ability to learn and to grow in ways that are healing, right, for ourselves as we work through the challenges of life.
Yeah, being vulnerable is so hard because we're taught, okay, don't cry in front of people, don't tell them what's wrong, you should always be good, you should always be amazing, you should always be positive. But the reality of the world is not that.
Right.
Every day has ups and downs, and you got to be honest with yourself with what's going on. And if you hold back, then you know you get upset, you bottle things up, and then it comes back. It never goes away. I think people are figuring out it's not going to go away if you push it away.
Yeah.
You have to address it for it to go away.
Yeah, you have to deal. Yeah, you definitely have to deal with it, and it's helpful to deal with that in the space of somebody else who will listen, right, and also be able to see the things that we are unable to see, the things that are in our blind spot that we are maybe not even aware of, because we can't see those things, or we've turned our eyes away from that and we refuse. There's the refusal of seeing things about ourselves as well that other people see. It doesn't make them go away, like you said. They're still there. We're just like, no, it's not.
It's like when you're dating somebody that's not good for you, and all your friends are telling you, why are you dating them? What's wrong with you? And then
Right.
you're like, no, but I love them. They're great. And you just can't, you're so blind to it. You can't see it. And because they're your friends, they're going to love you anyway. So you don't listen to them. But if they're all saying the same thing, you got to stop and reevaluate.
Right. That's the what's the old saying? When everyone around you's crazy, you're the crazy one.
Mm-hmm.
So you also mentioned that we talked a little bit about energy, and I'm curious. We've got 13 minutes left or so. I'm curious. Energy. I think you mentioned energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me more. I'm very curious about this.
So my other job is as a body worker, which body work is like an umbrella term that includes massage therapy, stretching, energy work. And energy, I think people are starting to realize, is a part of your body. Like we were saying, once you get into somebody's space, you notice their energy, you notice how they're feeling, if their energy's up, if their energy's down. You can tell by body language. You can also tell by just feeling. Sometimes you come up to a person and you feel like they're angry, or you feel like they're sad. And yeah, some things you can tell, like in their face, they might look sad, but sometimes they don't. And you can still tell how they're feeling. It's because your body projects that kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this sixth sense that we can sense other people's energy. Yeah, it's like sometimes you're so attuned to someone, like your best friend or your partner, and you know what they're feeling even though you're not with them.
Mm-hmm.
You might think, oh, something's going on with them, and then you give them a call and maybe they just were in a car accident and you're like, oh, I knew it. It's because you're connected to them through that energy, because you're so attuned to them and their energy. Everybody has a specific energy signature based on who they are, their personality, what they're like. So when you're with somebody, you're around them and their energy. And your energy can get blocked, stuck, congested due to emotion, stress, like I was saying, fear, anger, frustration. Those kinds of things get in the way of your natural flow of the energy in your body. And they affect you physically. So knots, tension that you don't know where it came from, right? Everybody has stress, holds their stress in their shoulders, some kind of stress in their shoulders. Everybody's shoulders are tight. 1 out of 1,000 people are not stressed in their shoulders. I think everybody has tension there, but not everybody's doing, shoulder presses all day. Right? So where does that tension come from? It's the emotion of the stress. You're subconsciously tensing your body when you're thinking about something stressful. And on an energetic level, the energy gets constricted there too. Is this making sense?
Yeah. So you would say that your mind, I'm paraphrasing this and bringing some of my own understanding into this conversation. Our minds, our bodies, our spirits are all interconnected, and one feeds off and plays into the other one. And so we might have, and I agree with you, this idea of energy, it's one of those things that we we intuitively know, we might describe it across cultures and experiences. We might describe it differently, but we all know when so and so walks into the room, it's like you can feel. Well, when we walk into a room, we can feel what the energy is in the room. We can feel the energy of the people that we care about, and we know when something's not right. And that's just like it's unexplainable. But we also know, like you say, we have stress, right? There are stressors, and we work out that stress in certain ways. It's in our communication. It's in our bodies. And if our body's not feeling good, then our spirit's not feeling. It's like it's a. I don't know. It is an interconnection. I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
Yeah, it's the mind-body connection is what really got me into studying this body work and knowing and understanding it, because we can hold stress from our childhood that we don't realize is still there in our muscles. And until you recognize what's going on and have someone help you, or even release it yourself, either through forgiveness or compassion or understanding, or even just maybe you need the physical touch of helping someone release that tension, the tension is going to remain there, and could cause you pain, could be chronic, could build on it, could build and build and build until it's this unexplainable pain or back pain that you have. And then, you go to the doctors and nobody can tell you what's wrong. There's nothing physically wrong with your bones and your structure, but you still have this pain. And you go to the massage therapist to work it out, but you have to go every week.
Yeah.
That's not a way to live. You can resolve that pain, but you have to know where it comes from. And it's usually through mind, body, emotion, stress, trauma that you go through that eventually lands in your energy and in your body.
There's a book that comes to my mind called, I think it's called The Body Keeps the Score.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a really good book to read. I have to keep thinking of some books.
The Body Keeps the Score: Mind, Brain, and Body in the Transformation of Trauma, and it talks about, in particular, trauma. And I think trauma's on the extreme, but stress, right, is a form of I think a form of like micro trauma, right? But in times of trauma, it underscores this idea that the mind, the body, and the brain are all connected, and emotional trauma is held in our bodies, and we become programmed sometimes, particularly trauma. It develops a pathway, right? So, like, how do you feel? It's, oh, my skin is tingling. I'm stressed. I'm anxious. I'm scared. Whatever. My skin is tingling, and if our body keeps making that pathway, that tingling skin all of a sudden goes, oh my gosh, I must be stressed. Oh, or I'm stressed and I'm tingling, right? It all of a sudden is all connected, and getting to the root of it to understand what's going on, how did it happen, where is that at, and then working with somebody to move through it starts to release some of those things from ourselves, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. I think it's fascinating. I know it to be true. I mean, I've talked with other folks about this, and I've read some of these books.
Yeah, totally. And there are a lot of good books out there from different perspectives, from doctors, from psychologists, from body workers, and just people who figured it out. And I think that the world of medicine is moving towards that understanding.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was going through a lot of stomach pain and weakness issues, and going back to the doctor, and the doctor actually told them, oh, we've done all these scans, we've done all these tests, your body is healthy. Is it your mind? Are you going through something? And I was really proud of that doctor, and to know that doctors are asking that. If it's not a physical thing, is it a psychological thing? And sometimes it is. Sometimes we're going through so much stress that our body reacts in a way that seems like we're sick, but really it's the trauma, this whatever we're going through, like COVID, like being stressed out that you might get sick and die. That's a real thing. And that's going to affect your body negatively if you keep thinking about that possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. So what advice do you have? I mean, we're winding down here in the last couple minutes. What advice do you have as a coach and a person who is introspective on your own life and have kind of moved, you do some things that are kind of outside the norm, right off the beaten path, in terms of rock climbing, and you put yourself in what would be very stressful situations for a lot of people. What advice do you have for people who kind of find maybe themselves in that moment of like, yeah, I feel like this could all be interconnected. I feel like I'm dealing with something, but where do I go? Where do I start with?
Ask for help. Ask for help any which way. It might feel weird. It might feel hard to do if you're not used to asking for help. And it also, if you ask for help and you don't find the help you get, don't get discouraged. Look somewhere else, because certain people aren't going to be able to help you, and that's okay. They don't know what can help you, but someone out there does. Someone out there can help you and is willing to help you, and you just have to find that person. So, I know it can be hard to keep going and to figure out your life, and I think a lot of people struggle with, I have to figure it out on my own. But that's such a huge misconception. And it's, in reality, we don't do anything on our own. From when we're a baby to when we can eat on our own, we get fed. Before we learn to read, someone teaches us to read. And I think that American culture focuses on, you do this, you're individual, you're independent, but really we're actually a big community of people helping each other.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. And we just don't realize it because we put so much importance on being independent and individual. And yes, you are individual and you're independent, but it's because your community has helped you become so. And so don't forget that you have a community out there that's going to help you and that can help you. And if you can't find the help in your immediate community, start looking outside, asking questions, just putting questions out there. Go to the library, go to podcasts, go to books. There's so much information out in the world. We just have to find what's right for us.
Yeah, absolutely. How do people get in contact with you if they want to know more about the energy healing and coaching and that type of stuff? Where do they go?
Yeah, I have a website. It's miinkayyu.com. So my name spelled with two I's, miinkayyu.com. That is my website. You can get to my podcast there. You can learn about my body work information there. You can find my email is coach@miinkayyu.com.
Cool.
I have an Instagram called Coach Miinkay. You can find me there too.
Yeah. What kind of stuff do you post on your Instagram?
I'm doing 31 days of live Instagramming this month to challenge myself to go live and just to public speak and practice my ability to talk to people and get over that. And I'm just trying to, give little tidbits of information every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks to all of our listeners for joining us for Coffee with Humans. Miinkay, this is fantastic. I'm so glad I got the opportunity to meet you. If you hold on for just a minute, I'll be back with you in just a second. But everybody else, thanks for joining us. Any last words as we go, Coach Miinkay?
I just want to say thank you, Jason, for having me here and for creating this safe space and for, also being a rock climber so we could talk about rock climbing. This was fun.
Awesome. Thanks.
One of the things I love about Coffee with Humans are the raw conversations I get to have, meeting new people just like you. If you or someone you know should be on Coffee with Humans, go to coffeewithhumans.com. Remember, the only rule is no sales calls. This has been Coffee with Humans. Subscribe to get updates or click to have coffee with me. coffeewithhumans.com.